What's going on, America? This is Kevin from Kevin's Corner, and I just got done watching the press conference from Tweedledee and Tweedledum, none other than Ilhan Omar and, of course, Tlaib, talking about how they were denied access to go to Israel. And, I hate to do it, but I'm going to have to. These two are planted moles, okay? They've been planted in the United States government to drive a wedge between Israel and the United States. As long as the United States and Israel's relationship is close, there can't be a wedge driven in between Israel to where other countries might have the boldness to assist with attacking Israel. They got the biggest, baddest ally on the planet. So they have to drive a wedge between Israel and the United States. But to do that, you have to demonize Israel to the point where bubblehead people and a lot of liberals in America and in other countries don't see that you're the person planted there to break up the relationship. Yep, if somebody is saying, you know what, that couple right there, they're real close. They spend a lot of time together, do a lot of stuff together. Seem like they got a real good relationship. And you're the hater. You're that person that launches a PR attack against them. You're sitting back talking to one of them. Yeah, man, he say you love him, but I question the love he got for you, girl. I really do. Then you go over to her and you're like, you know what? If he really loved you, he wouldn't be running around in the streets all the time. You're not in the relationship to bond them closer together, keep them together, encourage them, or applaud their relationship. You've been planted there solely to break those two up. And that's what these two people are doing. Both of them are being driven mostly by their religious and political beliefs surrounding Israel. Tlaib, she's riding in on the fact that dear old grandma is she's a Palestinian and I'm a Palestinian and it's personal for me. Whereas Ilhan Omar, even though she's not a Palestinian, but her beliefs obviously don't like Israel. I know she's Muslim, and I know there's some Muslims that, for whatever reason, they don't adopt that same mentality as she does, but it's obvious she's more of the radical thinking Muslims where Israel needs to be wiped off the map. And she's showing it through her aggression and all of their efforts and attention towards Israel. Now, why am I saying this? First of all, both of these people were elected to represent their district. Ilhan Omar should be representing Minnesota. Tlaib should be representing somewhere in Detroit. But what are they doing? They're wanting to go all over the place to talk about the atrocities of the Palestinian people versus the atrocities of all of the overdosing and the bad water in Michigan and the homelessness and all of this stuff going on in their own city, their own state, and their own district. But they're more interested in what's going over there. See, they got in saying, how can we go ahead and now just launch a smear negative campaign against Israel? Period. Forget about Minnesota. Forget about Michigan. We're on another mission. We've been planning. We're in, everybody. We're in, okay? Operation Destroy Israel and the United States relationship. The second part is to do that, you got to make Netanyahu look like Trump. Since they think that it's working by demonizing Trump, that all of the allies and people around the world are starting to be like, well, Trump, he's not really an ally of ours. He's this and this and that. Well, now they're trying to do the same to Netanyahu, to turn opinion away from him in his own country and establish him as a demagogue, as a dictator, and change the opinion of Americans against him. See, so you go after the leader and you create a cause. You create people to look at that leader as a dictator and forget what the leader stands for and the policies that he's representing. That is protecting all of his people. So you want to demonize him. So every choice that he makes, you got to look at it suspiciously. And that's what they're trying to do. So they're trying to destroy the relationship between people's opinion of Netanyahu versus Israel. Separate him from Israel, okay? So we'll make him look bad so people won't look at the fact of what we're proposing will impact Israel. We just want you to look at him. So they go in today and they're talking about how they were denied access to Israel to go and see what's going on down there. Now, first things first, Ilhan Omar opens up talking about they had plans to meet with, and she threw out some random people, security and all of that stuff. Yeah, you're going to meet with them when you come into the country because they're going to pat you down and make sure you're legit. But then secondly, y'all had a chance to go on a bipartisan trip with Democrats and Republicans. But see, they had a different agenda. They knew that they didn't want to actually be thrusted in to any type of trip that would cause them to have to look subjectively, cause them to have to be overshadowed by the rest of the people visiting, cause them to have to shut their mouths and be subservient to the older Democrats there instead of jumping out wild, off the chain, off the hook, radical, and getting the spotlight shined on them. They wanted the spotlight shined on them. That's why they didn't go. Part of the diabolical scheme. They wanted to be that frog on Bugs Bunny. Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. Hello, my ragtag doll. All of that stuff. They wanted that. They wanted the spotlight. So they chose not to go. Then they chose to go on a solo mission. Well, really, a dual mission. But they're going, just those two. Now they're going. And they did one thing that let you know how they see Israel. One, they didn't even acknowledge they were going to Israel. They said going to Palestine, which Israel and the United States don't even recognize Palestine as a country. But those two do, which also shows you they don't recognize Israel as a country and their sovereignty. Two, they didn't want to meet with Israel to go on their diplomats, to go on a tour to see what's really going on. They wanted to go over there for trouble, wanted to meet with an organization that obviously hates Israel and wants to see the boycotting and the destruction of Israel. So now you see that these two had ill intent anyway. Now, I was listening to Joe Lieberman trying to make it seem like, well, maybe they would have went over there and just, saw the light and then would have got more of a better understanding of what's going on. Because no, they're not doing that because they got a mission. If somebody paid me to go to a country and dig up dirt, if somebody said, Kev, your mission is to go over to Russia and not see anything but the oppression that Vladimir Putin is putting on the people, I might get over there, find out that, wow, doesn't look that oppressive to me. People look happy. But if it's my goal and my mission, I will see it through the lens of my mission. I would not subvert my mission so that I can come back and give a very equal and subjective report. I would be going, let me find problems with this system. I don't want to hear what you got to say about how the people might enjoy Russia and they like dancing, Mishka, all of that stuff. No, I don't want to hear that. I want to hear how people are over there saying, we can't vote, we're being oppressed, we're being attacked, we're being all of these things. That's what I want to hear. Then I'm going to come back and I'm not going to sit down and say, well, after further observation, Russia isn't that bad. No, I'm going to come back and say, Russia's just as bad as we told you it was. It's horrible. It's even worse than we thought. That's what they were going to do. Netanyahu knew it. Trump knows it. I know it. Most Americans with common sense knows it. But apparently the Democratic Party don't know that. They're allowing these two to drive a wedge right between the Democratic Party and the Jews in America and Israel. Now, unfortunately, it's going to come back to bite the Democratic Party because they're being held hostage to Tlaib and Omar, who, in coordination with that group over there in Palestine and whoever else helped them get into office, they're being held captive to them and their PR campaign to demonize Israel, and the Dems are too dumb to call it out. They're too afraid to say, you know what, we don't agree with them. They're going to follow blindly to their destruction. Do you think Christians, after seeing this, is going to be voting for the Democrats, who obviously is okay with tolerating the demonization of Israel, the separation between the relationship of America and Israel, and supporting these two women who obviously want to see Israel destroyed? Now, she talks about Ilhan Omar brought up the amount of money that we give to Israel. Now, where is she going with this, y'all? She's going straight down the path of stopping funds and stopping support of Israel. That's what we want to see. If we're going to give Israel money, then they need to be more sensitive and to Palestinians. And then she had the nerve to go ahead and demand that Israel create a Palestinian state, just right off grip. And until then, we should be questioning whether we should support them. Okay, so basically, she wants to usher in a big fat war between those two countries. Israel's not going to surrender their sovereignty. They've seen what that has gotten them in the past. But now this woman wants to pretty much draw a line in the sand and saying, if you want our support and if you want our money, here's our demands. So now she's going to try to hold Israel hostage to her demands, and the media is allowing these two knuckleheads by giving them a platform to step up there and create these images in people's mind to drive that wedge between Israel and the United States. And the Democrats are like, meh, bah, sheiks enough to go along with them. So people got to see the game that is being played right now with Ilhan Omar and with Tlaib. For them to have an option to go, chose not to go. Then she writes this letter for dear old granny. I want to go and see my grandmother. That's all I want to do. She's 90-something. Then when they call her card and say, go ahead. And now all of a sudden, well, I don't want to go because I don't feel that my voice needs to be silenced. And then, of course, Ilhan Omar in her opening had the nerve to say, well, the Israeli government is denying two first Muslim, now see, here comes identity politics, the first Muslim women to be elected to Congress to do their job. What's your job? I don't understand. You wanted to go over there to snoop around to see the atrocities that's taking place with the Palestinians. But have you been snooping around your own district? Your job is not to go over there and be an advocate for the Palestinians, okay? Why don't you talk about how certain groups within your religion and within Palestine have rules against gays and women and those type of oppressions? You don't disagree with those things? I don't understand. Not only that, instead of even doing that, why don't you start with your district? The people who actually put you in office to represent them. And what do? Go off on a big campaign and a crusade to try to establish a Palestinian state. So it's obvious that your intentions were never to get into Congress and look out after your people, after America. You had a bigger agenda, a religiously motivated agenda, and an agenda to eventually drive a wedge between Israel and the United States, demonize Israel, and make it more tolerable and palatable to attack Israel, to demonize them, all of these things. That's what they're doing. They're softening people up. They're giving them tenderizing blows, hopefully soften people up to demonizing or accepting anti-Semitic rhetoric towards Israel. That's what they're doing. And the Democrats are too dumb to see it. I'm telling you, but I see it, and I'm going to keep calling it. I'm going to be talking about this tomorrow on my live chat on YouTube and also on my radio blog talk show. This burned me up listening to these two witches and plants in our government just up there hating on the relationship with Israel, trying to make it seem like they're the victims and all they wanted to do was just go over and just visit and do our job. What was your job? Is your job to go over there and encourage boycotting Israel? Is your job to go over there and encourage them not receiving financing from the United States? Is your job to go over there and demonize Israel? I mean, I don't understand. Is that your job? Okay, so then when you get the chance to go see dear old granny, you don't want that. You don't want that. See, now you need to increase and continue the narrative that mean old bad Netanyahu and the rest of the Israeli prime ministers are just trying to silence us poor little women and us congresswomen who simply want to come over and do our job, which really isn't in our description, but we just saying we have stuff to do over there. What do you have to do? I mean, you could have went a couple weeks ago, but it was too many people. You'd have blended in with the crowd. That's what you're saying. We needed a standalone op. We needed to put this thing together so that we would be in the spotlight and look like we're the victims and try to create all the sympathy and all the support against Israel. And I'll be darned if I start seeing the majority of Americans start jumping on board with these two knuckleheads. If anything, we need to vote them so far out of Congress that we can't even see them no more. I don't want to hear their names, their voices. I don't want to see their faces. I don't want to see them no more. If they lose in 2020, I hope they go somewhere and sit they tail completely down with no chair. You're on the ground. Musical chairs. Pull it out from under them. Sit down on the floor. Crisscross applesauce. No more words out of you. Can't play in the games anymore. We're not going to give you a platform to get on there and spew up lies and encourage discord between us and our allies. Now, you've been listening to Kevin and Kevin's Corner. I'm sorry. Normally, I don't get this excited, y'all. But why I oughta. Anyway, check me out every Wednesday night, 7:30 live on YouTube. Also on Facebook. Don't forget to hit like, share, subscribe, and the notification button. This probably be demonetized after that rant. Anyway, but try it anyway. Don't forget to check out Extreme Tees. If you like something, click on it, and you'll receive a 20% discount by putting my name in the promo code. And if you want to donate to Kevin and Kevin's Corner, feel free. There's a link in the bottom, and you can do that. All right, God bless. See you next time in Kevin's Corner.